Actually, before we get started, I don't know why, but I was told you guys can tell me something about this. Give me a second. I'm getting in there.
It's a sex toy.
No!
Oh, no way. Dude, no. No.
Can you tell me something about that? So, no, it's not a sex toy. Those are called weights. Why?
I don't know anything about it.
Mike always calls me a little pansy ass because I've got messed up shoulders and I lift small weights for my shoulders.
3-pound weights.
He texted last week and said, hey, is Bob going to be there with the little pink weights? And I never responded because
I didn't respond. I was disappointed.
Have you always, since you started the gym, have you always done that? Use those weights?
I've got messed up shoulders. I got a rotator cuff tear, a labrum tear.
Oh, wow.
The left shoulder's frozen. Well,
This is why you guys have to be separated in class. Have you been to class with them?
No, not very often.
I mean, they're actually worse than you are. Welcome to The Secret Life of Parkinson's, a podcast created by people living with Parkinson's to help break the stigma of a disease no one likes to talk about. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Krauser and Brian Baker.
no.
In terms of disrupting things, I think so.
I've been called a disruptor before.
Yeah? I'm just going to keep these in the middle just as our centerpiece
Just
right
as a
now.
reminder.
Great.
Okay, so I'm excited that we have people from the gym.
I'm excited to have people here, period.
Wow. Oh, yeah, because usually we're on
Just
Zoom.
on Zoom, like-
I know, and then we're staring at the camera and
Live.
stuff. We're live in Steve's house. So we have Mike and Bob. That's like a show. Isn't that a show?
As Mike loves.
The Mike and Bob Show.
Yeah. Oh, my God, you guys might take over.
No.
So Mike is from Cincinnati. I'm just kidding. That's how I met him. I introduced myself, and I'm like, "Oh, you're Mike from Cincinnati," and he's like, "No," and I'm like,
No, Mike from Columbus.
Yeah,
But anyway, but you're new to the gym for how long now?
about a year.
Okay, and how long have you been?
2 years.
Okay, and how did you guys find the gym?
The PD retreat.
Oh, that's right, at Ohio Health.
Yeah, we talked to him
Yeah.
and his wife and his.
Yeah,
And your
you
kids,
guys
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
you
your-
guys
Kids
working the table. And
I think that was our first time doing the kids.
Might have been maybe first or second.
No, it was the first one, I think. I think.
I'm agreeing with you. I don't know.
We just Googled it,
Okay.
and it came up, and that was it.
So we want to talk about like your stories, your journeys, but then also more importantly, just how you guys have reacted or are reacting to having Parkinson's. So when were you diagnosed?
April of 23.
23. And when were you diagnosed?
Officially diagnosed about a year and a half ago.
Okay. What do you mean officially? Like,
Well, I was diagnosed when I was 50 years old.
how old are you now?
62, with early onset.
You were diagnosed at 50? Mm-hmm. But why do you say now it's just been a year and a half?
When I was 45 years old, I lost my sense of smell. And I started having those dreams, rapid eye movement dreams.
Did you act out dreams?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my mom had Parkinson's. My mom's sister had Parkinson's.
Okay.
So, yeah, I acted out my dreams. One point, I acted them out. It was actually on my 50th birthday. I had a dream where I was being chased by these little people. And I was on a boat, jumped off the boat head first into the water. But what I really did was jumped and crashed my head into the hardwood floor.
Oh, my God.
So I had a little bit of a cracked bone in my neck.
Oh.
It didn't cause any paralysis or anything. It wasn't that big a deal, really. It could have been worse. But I decided at that point that the dreams were getting out of hand.
Yeah.
So I researched it and determined that I had Parkinson's. I went to see Mom's neurologist. He confirmed that I had an early onset Parkinson's.
Okay.
So I had that for a few years. Kept after about 2.5 years or so, he decided that things weren't changing. He had me do a DAT scan.
Nothing was changing, like you weren't really progressing?
It wasn't getting any worse. It was just,
Just stable?
yeah.
Okay.
Did the DAT scan, came back negative. So he said, okay, you don't have Parkinson's, you've got essential tremor. So I had essential tremor for a few years. I guess the beginning of COVID, I fell and hit my head hard. I have a problem with hitting my head. But I had a concussion. Right after I had that, I started getting symptoms, all kinds of Parkinson's symptoms. They were getting pretty bad. All of them.
Like what?
Memory, tremors, my voice, bradykinesia,
Yeah.
just slow.
Yeah.
Having a hard time at work, remembering things.
What did you do?
Organizing. I was an accountant.
You were an accountant?
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about this today. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we'll talk about that later.
So I went back to the doctor. We did another DAT scan, and it came back negative again.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Like, when I got diagnosed, they didn't even do one. They're like, they're not very.
They're not very-
reliable.
I thought that was the gold standard.
No.
No.
Not
Well,
many people actually even get them.
So I had two of them. They both came back negative. And he said, you have Parkinson's anyways.
Yeah.
Because of all the symptoms.
Yeah.
So that's a long story.
No, that's interesting. I didn't.
So I had Parkinson's, and I had essential tremor. And now I have Parkinson's.
Well, that's what they told you. You probably had Parkinson's the entire time.
The whole time.
So I've had Parkinson's for 17 years.
Wow. You're doing good.
So yeah,
You don't think so?
nah.
Well, but see, you're looking at it as I think you're looking at it in a short term, like maybe it's progressed, but you got to remember if it's been 17 years, it's progressed very slowly.
That's why I wonder if I have it.
You do.
That's what we both say.
But we'll get to that in a minute. So you say the same thing?
I say the same thing. Like,
Why?
Well, it's when you get diagnosed, you go through like these phases in your head. Like, I was told the same thing by 3 doctors in Toledo. Oh, you just have essential tremors. I come down here to a new GP. She walks in and says, right away, you're going to go see a neurologist movement disorder. So we went there with my wife. Boom. Within 5 minutes, he said, sorry for the news, but you have it. And, he was great. He talked to us for an hour
Yeah.
and explained everything. But then once you leave, you're like, do I really have it?
Yeah.
Do I, like he didn't put me on any new drugs. He's like, just go home, try to, wrap your head around it. 6 months later, he puts me on a drug. And then that didn't work. And then
What'd you take?
Nupro,
What's
which
that?
it's an agonist. It's like it was a patch.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And, that just made me do like,
That you and I were talking about that.
I did crazy things. Like
Yeah.
I could go out in the yard and work 12, 14 hours. I started taking money out of our retirement accounts. And then as soon as I said that, Dr. Patel said, you're done.
Yeah.
And then went on, the standard Zetamat, carbidopa, levodopa.
Did you recognize it and just try to hide that the like taking money out and doing stuff, or did your wife notice it? Like, or did
Well,
you just?
I didn't tell her. She got the emails.
Okay.
Email saying that, hey, you're taking money out.
Yeah.
Then she calls me up and said, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Like,
Isn't that crazy?
yeah.
My husband got a bill to say like they were gonna shut our electricity and our water off, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know," because I wasn't paying bills.
Well, it's like 15 or 20% of people that take agonist.
I know.
This happens to. Like,
Yeah. So you were diagnosed in 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. And so are you guys still? Well, you obviously are still wrapping your arms around being diagnosed or having it. Why?
Right.
What?
Because I don't feel like I got a firm diagnosis.
Well, nobody does. There's no diagnostic test.
I'll go for days without any symptoms. And so I'll go 2 or 3 days without symptoms, and then I say, well, I don't have it, so I'll quit taking my medicine.
But by symptoms, what do you mean?
I won't notice any tremors.
You're not speeding up and slowing down. I mean,
I'm not moving slow, although my wife says I'm moving slow.
yeah. I mean, we don't recognize.
It's
those
like,
things.
so remember Tom, when Tom did the band and was walking and he was talking and stuff, he
Yeah.
told me that day or the next day, he was like, I didn't realize that my speech was so bad that you guys couldn't understand me. He's like, until I tried this. So it's like, we might not always recognize it. Like I'm actually doing the same thing right now, like with DBS that you are, like, do I really have it? Is it really that bad? And I was telling Brian this one time, and my husband's like, yes,
Yeah.
you do. He's like, it's time. But it's just the whole idea of like accepting the name of it, because it's like, I still am who I am.
Do you ever feel like you don't have any
Oh, yeah.
symptoms?
Well, you have good days and bad days all the
Yeah.
time. I mean,
Everybody does.
Usually mine is when I'm on my period, so I don't know what yours would be, but it can be hormonal of like
Yeah.
when I have literally almost like 5 days every month that I'm like, I'm not even dyskinetic, and I'm still taking the same medication. I'm not dyskinetic. I barely have dystonia during those times, and I feel fine.
See, I stopped taking my medicine.
Why? I told you to go back on.
You did it for like
I'm
3
on it
weeks,
now.
didn't you?
Yeah,
that's-
I've been on it for about 3 weeks now.
Now, you don't
But
have
I took
you
off
don't have
about 3 weeks.
periods then?
No.
Because you're probably not on enough.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
you'll start to notice those. I mean, at least for me, I mean, the first 5 years I was diagnosed, people always talk about off periods. I didn't know what they were. I was like, what are
Yeah,
talking
but you
about?
only, I agree, but you're only having off periods if you're taking enough medication to make you feel on,
Okay.
like what good feels like, and then off.
But so we're probably, we think we know best with our medication a lot of times, and instead of doing like what the doctor says, we.
Did everybody hear this?
I believe
please?
I've been called non-compliant
Well,
the other day.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with Brian. Like I don't feel the difference when I take when I'm on the meds but like if I miss for an hour or two, my wife will say, "Have you taken your meds lately?" Like I'm like I can't, like I just feel like I don't feel a huge difference when I take them, but I know they help.
I felt my difference when I was 4 years in, I think. 4 to 5 years in was my
I don't feel the difference.
oh, how much are you taking?
3 a day.
3 a day. or
3, like,
Total.
Yeah.
that's why.
Because you're not taking enough to.
If I was taking 3 a day, I wouldn't feel the difference either because it's not doing anything.
Well, I should talk to my doctor and ask for more medicine.
Yeah, so like, I mean,
I actually just saw him last week.
okay. Did they tell you to? I mean,
He
because
went
I
to see me
know
in 3 months.
I know they leave it a lot. They leave a lot up to us, which
Right.
I understand. I have issues with and not issues with because I totally understand there are people that don't want to go the medication route, which is totally fine. But just because you go on it, I always tell people, it doesn't mean you can't go off of it. I mean, hell, you went off of it on your own, which you should not do. You should talk to your doctor first. But just by going on it, I mean, I've changed. I've been up. I've gone down. I've tried like different like extended release, immediate release. I mean, I changed my meds. I actually haven't changed them in probably 6 months. But in the beginning, I mean, for the first 5 years, I was changing them every 4 to 6 months, adjusting.
Yeah, he hasn't changed them. So I'll wait.
But if you're having problems with your speech and your slow movement and rigidity and stuff like that, I mean, obviously it's up to everybody individually, but that's what the medication's supposed to help you with.
Yeah.
There are those things.
So I haven't had this soft voice or low voice in at least 2 or 3 days. And I got it this morning when I was driving home from the gym. I started feeling it. So I didn't have the symptom.
Yeah. It just comes and goes.
I mean,
We-
the
like
pain
that-
in my shoulders, the pain in my elbows, pain in my wrists.
Yeah, how's your
pain-
back?
It's fine today, but yesterday it hurt. I mean, it felt like somebody was ripping my muscles apart. All this stuff kind of cycles through. It's like, I mean, I remember when I first started working out with Melissa, I had so much pain in my wrists that I couldn't like hardly do push-ups.
That's what I have problem with
yeah.
right now.
And I started doing them on my doing push-ups and planks on my knuckles because I just couldn't do the flat hands on it's too much pressure on my wrist. And
And then it goes away.
Yeah, it goes away eventually, and every now and then it'll pop back in there and stuff. I mean, but yeah.
How do you guys feel now after being at the gym?
Well, honestly, I like the gym is the best thing for me. It's not. It's the exercise part, but just as much it's the socialization.
Yeah.
To get out of the house, to go and like you see everybody, like every single person at the gym is kind, welcoming, and like it's a different kind of gym when I envisioned when I first like when I signed up, because I thought a gym, I'm just going to go work out by myself. There's going to be like, a community center. I didn't realize it was classes. And like, it's really nice that you don't have to think.
Yeah.
That's the part that I like. Like you can just go and just follow along and.
Although sometimes she makes us say words backwards and stuff. And
Oh,
that makes
forget
us think.
that. I can't do the alphabet backwards saying on one leg. That's
do
not
it.
going to happen. Like,
How about you?
I think it's great. Now, when I do have symptoms, the one that's most noticeable to me is I think it's called bradykinesia.
The
That's
slowness.
when you're walking slow, you're just moving real slow.
Yeah.
When I go to the gym, and if I'm like that, when I leave the gym, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
It gets rid of that for the rest of the day. And then what Bob said about being around other people that have it and joking around with everybody, and that's good. I think
But it's not just like joking. We can ask personal questions.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like
I just joke.
everything.
It usually takes about 30 seconds for me to ask what neurologist you see.
Well, yeah, and
Just because I'm curious,
neurologists,
like what neurologist you see, what kind of medication are you taking? Those are always things I always ask somebody just to see.
you know, and like a urologist, what's going on with your prostate? What's going on here? How, you know, what? Like so many people have had issues, and like, and it's like, what drugs work for you? What are your symptoms? It's just like, is this normal? And they're like, yeah, don't worry. Yeah, that's just this is what you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I get encouraged and motivated by seeing people that can function, that have had the disease for longer than I have, that are older than I have, that are living their life.
Oh, hell,
It's
did you see
amazing.
Murph today?
Oh, he was
Jumping like
up
a
in the air.
frog. I'm like, oh my God, he just turned 72.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw him today.
yeah.
Go Murph. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah,
encouraging.
to me, I'm like this. You know, these people they're showing me that they can live with it. You know, and that they can still be active at 72. You know, I'm a little bit behind that, but trying to gain quickly, I guess. But I always get motivated by seeing,
Yeah.
you know, people in their 70s do burpees, or like kind of like we talked about before. Like, if they can do it at 70, there's no reason I should be able to do it at 50.
If what?
If they can do it at 70,
Oh, yeah,
there's
yeah.
no reason I should be able to do it
Yeah.
at 50.
Yeah. And to keep going with it.
Right.
And I know you guys have had a lot of positive influence on other people that have joined, because you were the newbies for like a very short time.
Yeah.
And now there's constantly new people, and it's, I think, having individuals like you guys and Brian, and I mean our whole gym is like this, but it helps ease the what do I want to call it? Like the anxiety that people might have over coming to a gym like that.
Yeah.
Because, what we always hear a lot of times is people are uncomfortable. They think they're going to be uncomfortable. And it's like, we take cameras into the gym all the time, but it's like, what do you think you're going to see? It's like there's nobody in a...
I think it's a very welcoming atmosphere.
Well,
Everybody's friendly. I mean, the joking around is half of it. Everybody's doing their exercises, but they all get along. Everybody gets along.
Yeah.
And nobody's judging.
what I expected to see when I first went to a Parkinson's focused gym was a bunch of elderly people not being able to move very well.
Yeah.
What I saw was a bunch of elderly people that were kicking my ass. And this is the truth. I mean, like there's
First day I saw Murph.
yeah,
I thought, geez.
yeah, well, yeah, I did. And so I was like the same thing, like I said before, like, well, if she can do it at 72 or 65 or whatever, then I should be able to do it at 40. And that's when I was in shape, and they were still kicking my ass.
Were you going to say something?
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, for the holidays, like, Murph does the Murph.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll meet you there, Murph. But I don't know. Like, at the beginning, I couldn't do them.
Yeah.
And
They're hard. I mean, they are hard. My
They're-
kids can't even, don't always finish them. So, it
Yeah.
makes...
I mean, but when you look at the gym and you see everybody, all different ages, and like, you just have to like get over yourself and say, yeah, I have Parkinson's. This is helping me. Instead of saying like, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't like. It's good to have a gym to go to because it holds me accountable. Like if I wouldn't have the gym, I wouldn't do it at home.
Right.
Like I wouldn't exercise. Like that's like I'd go for walks and stuff, but like I wouldn't. I'd say, oh, that hurts. I'll stop after 10 minutes.
Did you feel a physical difference in where you were in terms of just being able to move better?
I can't compare it to before, after Parkinson's, but I feel a lot better now than I have in years.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I still try to get out and do stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the socialization is the best for me.
Yeah.
There's that, and then you and I were talking yesterday about some stuff, and I think I told you that the one thing for me, and we talked about kind of before this podcast, was, you talk about being in the gym and getting those cues. Look up, keep your head up, stand up straight.
Yeah.
You make your arms big. Nope, you're not doing it big enough. Make them all the way big. Those things, big steps. Those social cues that we get, or verbal cues, I guess I should say, that we think we're taking a big step, but when you're called out, you're like, oh, I wasn't taking that big of a step. Or
Didn't I call you out one time?
Probably.
I did. And you're like, oh, I'll get you later. 'Cause I was like, you're not stepping. So it's good to have other people like watching out for you. So seeing other people in the gym, and because I know a ton, I mean, now people can probably notice more so, at least you guys can, that I have Parkinson's just because I'm dyskinetic a lot more than I was when I was first diagnosed. But before that, everybody would be like, are you sure you have Parkinson's? And I'm like, God, don't make me question it again. It's like I'm already, thinking that way. But again, I'm fully well aware. But seeing as how like not a lot of us show symptoms during class.
Right.
Does that make you feel comfort in the fact that everyone's going through this fluctuation of symptoms, no symptoms?
I guess I notice that, but I do notice when people are having severe symptoms, but I don't notice when they're not.
Yeah.
Everybody has their little
Thing.
symptom, but I don't really notice that much.
Yeah.
Well, the more I work out, the more my tremors get pronounced. Like right now, even talking, like
Oh yeah.
my hand's going crazy underneath the table.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like part anxiety, part.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, it's just like being in a different situation.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's how anytime I'm on the computer for work, and I'll be on a Zoom call, and if it's a call that I know there's a lot going on, I'm like this, and I'm like I'm gonna go off camera now, and like, and I don't do it here because I'm comfortable here, but yeah.
Well, if you guys ever had like when you meet somebody new, and you talk to them, and they say, well, it comes up like I have Parkinson's, and their first response is like, oh.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, and it sucks to be you.
Oh.
Like, it's like it's a death sentence. And I'm like, it's not a death sentence.
Yeah.
I can still do stuff. I can still go out. I can still be active. Like, I have to change a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, last weekend I went out to see our daughter in Denver, and my wife's like, don't take Dad for, a 10-mile hike. He's not going to want to do it. And so just like altering things like that. So our daughter's like, okay, I won't take him up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just altering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're still
living within Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's acknowledging. I mean, it's like, I hate to always bring this up, but it's like my best comparison. It's like, when I was pregnant, I'm like, okay, I can't probably do a 10-mile hike because I'm pregnant at the moment. But it's like, it's altering where your current physical abilities are. And that shouldn't be a bad thing. It's just acknowledging.
Well, and the older you get, the less that you can really.
Yeah.
It's just natural, like you can't.
I mean.
So I had a hard time talking to my clients when I left my accounting firm and telling them what I had. And I heard a lot of that. Oh, I feel so bad for you. And it's like.
Then you feel worse about yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to encourage them that it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And so.
While still trying to accept it yourself.
Right.
What do you think's holding you back on, like, are you accepting of it now? Like, are you taking medication?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking 3 times a day, 2 pills, 25, 100.
Okay.
So.
How's that going?
Okay. 7, noon, and 5. I mean,
so do you feel like you're, I hate to say it, like acknowledging it or accepting it, because I do.
Yeah. I mean, I accept it now, and I have it, and like, it's just like the little things that just like drive me crazy. Like, I already talked to Dr. Pill about it, but it's just like, I'm so like, I can be so emotional, like watching a Hallmark movie.
That's what he is,
and
too.
start crying over nothing.
No, I get that. And I get that all the time. Like, I'm sitting here watching a commercial for something, or like a show on TLC, and I'm choking, trying to hold back the tears.
Exactly.
I have no idea why, and I had to kind of start laughing because I'm gonna start crying if I don't start laughing. Then people are, and then I have people that are like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I just.
It's the weirdest feeling.
It is very weird.
And then I'm complete opposite. My husband's like, you have like a heart of like stone, because I don't cry. I barely cry.
Man,
You can take some of mine away.
You guys are sharing it.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
going to
funny.
start crying now.
See?
I'm just joking. Water.
This one of his symptoms now is watery eye.
Because,
That's a new one. Do you know why?
well, a couple things. When I blink, I don't close my eyes all the way.
Oh,
Like they said, I've been told by multiple people.
so what would you guys say to people who are newly diagnosed and who don't? Because a lot of people they'll come to the gym, they'll call Melissa, and then they'll say, "Yeah, but I'm just not ready for this yet. I'm too. My doctor said I'm still early on, so I don't have to take medication. I don't want to come to the gym yet because it's just not for me yet." What would you say?
Try to encourage them to come and experience it and see everybody what it's like and see everybody there. And they probably don't have an understanding or even any idea what it's like, right? Until they get there, they might think it's as hardcore or people are going to be looking at them. It's just not like that.
Yeah.
But try to encourage them to show up, and maybe Melissa will scare them away.
What about you?
I would say the person with Parkinson's should call Melissa and talk to Melissa, and they should come to the gym themselves and not have a spouse try to
Force you.
or you have to want to do it. And like you have to commit to it. And once you're there, you're there.
And to check out other, like any facilities, because obviously, PD Next Steps is in our area, but there are tons of, Rock Steady, or there's other gyms and other communities around the world. And a lot of them are online, like ours. We have our Zoom classes, and hopefully we're going to be expanding the PD Next Steps program so that anybody can train on it. But the thing that I would say people with Parkinson's need to find is that balance in that right place. They need somebody who's encouraging, who understands. Because if you just go to a gym and you just do a class and that's it, you're missing out on like half of what you need, which is the socializing with other people with PD.
That and like pushing yourself too a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I need to push myself more. You might need to push yourself more.
Thanks.
No, I'm just kidding. So do you are you feeling more are you guys both feeling more comfortable with
The diagnosis?
with the diagnosis and with moving forward?
I've accepted it, but I'm obviously worried.
What's your hesitation of taking more medication?
Well, he hasn't said you should take more medication.
Okay.
Are you being honest with him? Because I can see that you're probably not being honest with him about with the symptoms, because you're not even honest with yourself.
Brian's going to come to your next doctor's appointment.
No, I mean, I was there. I've been there. Like, I didn't want to take medication, but then when I started taking it, then I started seeing it work, and I was like, "Ooh, this. Why did I fight this so much?" And then I'm like, "Oh well, hey, if we up it just a tad, a half a pill." In addition to that,
can I just then a lot of people might be pissed off by me saying this, but it's just an observation from me that I feel like a lot of guys are like that. I mean, because my husband's the same way. Like if I notice anything, he's like, it's fine. Or, even other people at the gym, I notice like the men are, again, I apologize for this, but like the men just seem a lot more hesitant in taking the medication or accepting things.
I didn't. One, it's inconvenient, and I didn't want to be reliant on that medication. That was my thing.
But somebody mentioned to me, they're like, but it also could be because you don't want to. People feel like you're giving in to the disease, or you're, or like it's defeating you versus you defeating it.
Yeah, I see that.
Is that how you?
Yeah.
Did my therapy session help this?
Like I said, but when you can come to terms and be honest with yourself and be honest with your doctors, that's for myself when I saw the medication make the change, which then also led to my DBS.
Because it is a mind thing. I mean,
For some reason, even though half the time I don't think I have Parkinson's, I'm always thinking about Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Are you that way?
A little bit. Like I always I got off sites that were like, I woke up today and like I couldn't do anything, and like it was like really, to me it was like a Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Like it was just like,
Physically or just apathetic feeling?
no, like these people like
Oh, you're talking on
online. Like
Yeah.
I'm like I don't know what's going to happen to me personally, but all I can do is take care of myself. And like if I read all these things about everybody else, I'm like I feel for him 100%. I feel for him, but like I just cannot like wrap my head around and say what if tomorrow I can't. It just hits me. I'm like I just have to live today. Like
Yeah.
and
But the thing was, PD, it doesn't just hit you, which is good.
That's the thing with the gym though. When you start to see people active, like that's all I saw when I first got diagnosed, was people that were active, because that's the only community I knew. Then I went to a PD event and I saw more of some of the worst cases of PD. And I had a really come to Jesus meeting with myself on the way home. I was like, if I'm gonna end up like that, I'm gonna just drive this truck right off a cliff right now, because I'm not gonna.
well, that's what
I don't want to be a burden on anybody else.
Yeah, I was going to be your passenger.
That's what I worry about, being a burden.
Right. But you're far from. Well, maybe even to Melissa, you're a burden, but.
Thanks for taking the heat.
No,
Do I
but
change chairs?
No.
but I don't think. And I see this all the time. Like when I can't take care of myself, that's when I'm when I'm gonna have a really come to Jesus meeting with myself.
Kate or Ben will take care of you
I know,
with your son.
Yeah.
You said apathy a few minutes ago, and that's probably the worst thing that is affecting me.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally sit for hours, watch TV and watch YouTube stuff about Parkinson's. I mean, I'll just sit there and then it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
there's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn TLC and cry like
Cry
Bob
like the
and I
rest
do.
of you.
Cry like Bob and I do.
Just have a box of Kleenex beside you.
Yeah. Make sure you're not choking on anything, because you get this
Get a
lump
call.
lump in your throat because you're trying to hold back the tears.
Well, do you either of you guys see a talk therapist?
Yes,
Do you? How often?
I went for like a few months ago. I went for like 6 sessions.
Okay.
But I think they're scheduling me for at the end of the summer to
Okay.
start again.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, like I tell Brian all the time, like, if I didn't have the podcast, I would probably go to see a therapist. Not because I think like, oh, I need somebody to help me through things. I just need to talk about stuff, like my issues, because I can talk to you guys all about it, but then when I'm at home, it's just like when you come home from work, you sometimes will talk about your job, blah, blah, blah. But after a while, like your spouse is like, okay, let's not talk about work all the time. That's how Parkinson's is to our significant others. So I try to hold off on that, but we all need that outlet. Like we need to tell our story, tell everybody how we're feeling. So we don't think that we're going crazy, right? But apathy
But we
is
might
hard.
be.
No, we're not. We'll tell you if you are.
Really?
Yeah, you think we'd hold back?
No.
But and I think that's another good part to like have people around you is like they can help tell the differences, and tell the changes. Like Brian invited me to his DBS. What's it called? Tune-up? Whatever. He hasn't been in like a year.
They haven't made changes like 2.5 years.
Which is
since they have
crazy.
put in.
So he goes to Patel, and then the sales rep guys there for Boston Scientific, and they're talking about like what he's been feeling, and they're like, well, how's this, how's that, and they're like, and how's your speech, and he's like, I'm like, it's awful. So it's like having that other person there to say,
Yep, she called me out. No, but it made sense then they started explaining that stuff to us.
Yeah.
And oh, this is why this piece. We're getting too much amplitude in this area.
Yeah.
We need to focus in this area of your brain.
That's
and
crazy.
That's the first time I've really seen it. And they got this iPad and they're flipping my head around on this iPad and. They're like, oh, this is why. And they're like, here, if you touch this button, you won't be able to talk. If you touch this button.
And he's like literally sitting there, and after like a minute, they must have done something, and they're like, how do you feel now? And he's like, I think okay.
Yeah.
And then they're doing the whole like arm thing and like walking around, and it's
That's
like
funny. I watched that last night.
what?
The podcast you're talking about.
Oh, did
a
we
few
talk?
guys,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird.
Catching up on your shows.
Well, you were doing YouTube in your
Oh,
chair.
I was doing YouTube in my chair. I was watching you guys talk about, Brian's.
I'm going to buy you some books.
I've got books.
Crossword puzzles. Do you guys ever do activities outside of the gym? Like with people from the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every Friday, there's like anywhere from 3 to 6 of us. We always go get donuts at Tim Hortons. And then you just talk about anything. Like,
Yeah.
Dang it, I don't get invited to that.
You don't come
You
on
don't come on
Fridays.
Fridays.
Well, I might have to start now.
Well-
What are we doing? There's donuts involved.
Yeah.
They look like I've missed a meal lately. Come on now.
They know you. They know us at Tim Hortons. Like,
That's
you know,
awesome.
they kick people out of our leather seats, and they're like, "That's theirs."
Aw, that's cute. Well,
But-
good.
You looking at me now?
I thought you were going to say something.
No, I don't do that much as much as I used to.
What do you hope to do? Like, what do you guys want to do?
It's a tough one to answer.
I want to be able still to ride my bicycle and take trips. Like we've got trips planned this summer. Like, you know, they're like week-long bicycle trips. That's my wife and I. We love doing.
Yeah.
So, you know, to be a sad day if I have to give that up. Like,
I know Bonnie, she skied for like after her diagnosis. She was diagnosed years ago, but she still skied for like 10, 15 years. And I mean, it just depends on how you treat your body.
She's pretty amazing.
Bon Bon.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
well, you just look at people in the gym too. They still nothing really like a lot of people. It doesn't slow them down. Like, I mean, some people have a boat. Some people, they still go traveling like all over. And
I think they still struggle like we do. I mean, every time, you know, people might look like, oh, we have it all together. And it's like, there's definitely times that we don't, you know. But it's still being able to do, you know, the things that you love, huh?
We don't.
I have my shit together.
Okay.
I don't know if you do.
Let's say I thought I did too.
No, I'm
Maybe I
kidding.
don't.
No, but just like, you know, because sometimes people are like, oh, you know, you don't always see like our bad days because, you know, everybody kind of shows up to be.
well, and that's what you said earlier. It's like people when I talk to them, if I haven't seen somebody for a while, they're like, "Yeah, man, you look really healthy. Like you."
Well,
And
don't you?
like, you look good. You look
Don't you want to say like, what did you expect?
I know.
Yeah.
People are like,
I'm
wow,
not
you look-
dying.
Or you don't look
yet.
like you have Parkinson's.
You know, you sort of just when I say, "You want to see that tremor?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get close.
Yeah, show me something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It just bums. Like it pisses me off.
Yeah, it is.
I had to put on my social media. I was like, please don't ask me. Like, please don't come to me and say, oh, how are you doing? Like, and I said, I'm not dying yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're all dying.
We're all dying.
Yeah,
But I mean, like, it because that did get on my nerves. Like,
you can ask me how I'm doing.
Yeah,
like I don't mind that, but like
don't get that sad face and that low tone in your voice and the like. Oh, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So that's why
like
I'm
you
always
do to
like,
your grandmother. That's what you do to your grandmother.
So it's my activity level is like dropped way off. So
because you decided.
because I can't get off the damn couch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's something.
It's hard to get motivated.
Yeah.
It is. There's nothing wrong with sitting on the couch sometimes either.
Watching YouTube Parkinson videos. But when I do something different, it's a good feeling. Like got together with my wife and I got together with my brother, sister, and their spouses a few nights ago. Had a good time, just BSing, and you know, had a birthday party. One of my grandkids 2 or 3 weeks ago. Had a great time. Went to their house. I need to do more. It's hard not to. It's hard to.
What do you do after you leave the gym?
Honestly,
Go home and sit. I go home and sit on the couch if I can get away with it.
exactly. That's what I do.
I mean, are you tired or are you just?
I get tired. I'm tired like 1 or 2 o'clock. That's kind of embarrassing. But
No, that's my nap time. 11
1
or
2
1.
o'clock. So basically, work out in the morning at 9 o'clock and tired around 1 o'clock. Take a nap. The day's halfway gone or more than halfway gone.
You just schedule things in between then. Like, honestly, like I have a hard time sometimes in the morning. Like, I'll get the kids, like, they'll get up ready for school. They're out the door at like 7 a.m. I can so easily just be like, oh my God, I just don't, like, I'm just tired. And sometimes I will go back to bed, and it's more not necessarily apathy at that point, but I did go through that. It is just like being tired. But now I'm trying to get myself to really just get to the gym. So I just keep moving. So we'll just keep you moving.
Okay. You've been to the gym more lately, I think. Maybe I've been at the gym more
Yeah,
lately.
I think
I've
you've been
seen
at the
you
gym more lately because I need to go more.
I think mornings are the worst for me, just getting going.
Yeah,
Like,
it's hard.
yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you.
This was great. See, it was a little bit more relaxing than I thought, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? No? Yes? Well, again, appreciate it. I know it's not easy opening up about your personal stories and, what we're dealing with. So thank you very much. It'll be, I think, helpful to a lot of people who are struggling with the same things. So.
Good.
All right. In our last 30 seconds, I'll leave you with this. Every person thinks of Parkinson's differently. It affects everybody differently, but just know that you are not alone. The most important thing is finding both a gym as well as a community so that you can socialize and talk about your Parkinson's with other people who are experiencing it. So with that, we'll see you next time.